Running jackets, running jackets. Running jackets, my favorite running jacket. Lotto. Insulated. We, me, you. Oh yeah, secret applesauce, you know? All right. Hey, I'm Alan with REI, and I've got all these cool new running jackets in front of me to see if they can outperform my old ones. You know, I started to run down in Southern California where I rarely needed a running jacket, even in the mountains, except when we got into a SoCal winter, meant that there was snow on the ground on the mountain trailheads. And usually that meant that I would put a jacket on maybe when I got out of the car, but quickly took it off as I started. Moving up to the Northwest, I realized I may need a jacket more of the time, even on some of the road runs. Now I have running jackets in my kit a lot more often, and some of them I go to more than others. I love those jackets. Those jackets feel like they do almost everything I need them to do. I just sometimes think, can they do it a little bit better? So I've got all these jackets here in front of me to see if I can replace an old running jacket with some cool new tech. The running jacket I use most often is my wind jacket. The two biggest things that I look for in a wind jacket are breathability and packability. So this jacket's probably, 6 seasons old at this point. It's a pretty basic kind of wind jacket. Many jackets of this style kind of fold into a pocket. Whether I have this and I want to zip it back or not, and I can kind of just leave it half zipped or whatever, this is my jacket like 90% of the time. This jacket is currently not available anymore, so it's kind of part of the reason why I hold on to it so closely. But what is available, and what has been available for many, many years, is the Patagonia Houdini. The Houdini is actually the first wind jacket I got before I moved to this marmot jacket. Looking at the hood on some of these wind jackets, and specifically the Patagonia Houdini, you can see that it doesn't have that extra kind of mesh piece that lets it be stretchy on the marmot that I like. Cool. So after running a little bit with that, I can feel like the hood start to recede back a little bit. And if the wind picked up a little bit, I can see why the hood story would still probably be the same to me. But other than that, a small complaint for a jacket I loved for a long time. So it again packs into its own pocket. You do have this little clip on the end, so you can kind of hook it up to a harness if you're climbing with it. It's a really rad piece. I love this Houdini, but I'd have to do this. And that seems like not a big deal. Why wouldn't I just grip this instead of putting this thing over it? It's a big enough deal to me to where I think I might stay with this jacket. I think the Patagonia Houdini piece is a great piece for folks that are looking for a little bit more multi-sport functionality. So the next jacket in my kit, the one that I reach for most often right after my wind jacket, is my Arc'teryx Norvan SL. This jacket is kind of no frills, incredibly lightweight, and just does everything you need it to do. The one thing that's kind of a bummer for me about this jacket, because there's no frills, is that the stuff sack is separate. There have been times where I've lost this little stuff sack, and it's sent me into panic mode for a couple hours. And I'm just thinking about that my whole run. So you'll see that it packs down next to nothing, which is rad. It is kind of a bummer that it's a little bit separate. So I'm excited to see if there's a new waterproof running jacket that can kind of do something a little bit better. So the on-weather jacket is a pretty cool jacket. First, it just looks cool. The top part of the jacket is waterproof, which is rad. But the bottom part of the jacket is not really waterproof. It's pretty weather resistant, which is awesome. It's kind of why they call it their weather jacket. It's also got these like flaps that kind of go in between the top part of the jacket. It's got a lot bigger of a hood, which is nice. Some reinforcement on that kind of bill. Really solid waterproof zipper all the way through, which is kind of cool. Not sure if it packs into itself. Yeah. So usually what you can do is like you can grab any pocket, turn it over. If there's another zipper pull on the other side, that means you can probably pack it into that. Packs down, relatively small. This hand carry option is kind of interesting, a little asymmetrical, which is pretty rad. If we kind of look on the inside of the jacket, we'll see that even where the waterproof part of the top part of the jacket is, there's like this micro mesh lining, which is kind of interesting. So assuming that helps out with the wicking of the sweat in that piece. Again, going towards the outside of the jacket is not really any hand pockets, which is totally fine when I'm running. I'm not looking for them. If I'm gonna try on running jackets, I just wanna make sure I can have my hat on. It's important to me that the hat's not kind of flopping around, but it also controls my hair. So my hair is like not as crazy in a lot of ways, which is kind of nice sometimes. So I'll kind of keep my hair back there, throw the hood on, see how that feels. Oh, whoa. Sometimes it's interesting when you have like more oversized hoods, you have more flexibility. So you're like, why is all this extra fabric there? For me, maybe it's because I got all this extra hair everywhere. So like this is really nice. I really actually dig this jacket. So this jacket feels pretty well ventilated. I can feel a lot of the air moving around. And to be honest, I can just feel the air coming through the fabric a ton. So super comfy, really dig it so far. So this is a top contender. This is the Janji Rainrunner jacket. And I've read so many good reviews about it before I actually saw it in store. Primarily the thing that folks talked about was the breathability. And that comes from, you can see like the 360 kind of perforation that they have in there, or the flaps. And especially in the back, it's just like one big flap. So looking for that packable pocket again, doesn't look like it's that one. Hey, looks like it's this one, cool. Already looks like it has a little hand loop, which I love. It's a little bit heavier than I thought it would be. It feels more akin to what we think of as a traditional rain jacket. You can see it's a little bit bigger than my Arc'teryx Norvan SL, but kind of comparable in size to the On, maybe perhaps a little bit bigger, but pretty similar. It feels, again, kind of like a more traditional rain jacket as soon as I put it on. It doesn't have as soft a hand, certainly not as soft a hand as the On weather jacket. Trying to see if it goes over the hat. It does. It's got a little bit of a reinforced brim there. It does have this elastic pieces on the side, which is kind of cool. And it can sit its brim on top of my hat brim. It's got a pretty decent hood, but just running a little bit back and forth. I can tell that it probably won't stay on with my hair a lot. A lot more comfortable to run in this style of jacket than I expected it to be. I can really feel the airflow go through, which is pretty nice. Exploring the jacket a little bit more, it's got this little loop feature that you can kind of roll down. The Arc'teryx jacket that I have does a similar thing. You can kind of see the little button where it would do that, and then it'll kind of just roll down into that. We do have these pockets, which is obviously I stuffed the jacket into one of them, but you do have two what would be called hand warmer pockets in a lot of different descriptions of jackets. So another cool thing about this jacket and Janji stuff in general is that they're really conscious of environmental concerns and moving towards more sustainable options. So the waterproofing that they use in their garments is environmentally friendly, and it kind of like sets the standard for those things. So this jacket, it's pretty awesome that it's designed to be technically impressive from a running standpoint while still being environmentally conscious. I would say that I'm really impressed by the On weather jacket. I mean, hood is rad. Oh yeah, I can't believe how well it fits. I didn't think that it would, and honestly, it's something that blows my mind every time when something fits well around my head, and even particularly when wearing a hat. So I dig that, and just the soft hand of the jacket feels really good. The Rainrunner jacket is one of those things where I believe my friends. Like, they're telling me that it's the most breathable piece they've ever run in. So it makes sense to me to kind of trust them in that way. But the breathability concern wouldn't beat out my Arc'teryx jacket on its own. Probably not considering the Janji this season, but have a lot of thinking to do about the On weather jacket. It might actually replace my Arc'teryx jacket. So next up, we have some insulated running jacket options. This is a really interesting category for me. I hardly ever run with insulation, especially in road runs, and even out on the trail. I usually put it on again if it's like a really exposed area, and most of the time when I'm taking a rest. So it kind of has to fit in my running vest, which is nice. So packability again. Breathability is less of a concern in this way, but it could be cool if I can start off with the jacket, especially going uphill, if it can dump heat in the back. So I'll show you my option first. This is a Marmot Ether Dry Climb. It's pretty much a wind jacket with some fleece lining. So it's got two hand warmer pockets and a chest pocket, which is nice, and it packs down into its chest pocket. This is the jacket that I've run in for years, or that I put on when I'm cold when I'm running. So I'm gonna check out some other options that we have this season and see if anything will stack up. The first one is the North Face Winter Warm Run Jacket. And this jacket is part of the Winter Warm series, which is kind of like North Face's legacy winter series for running, and it's pretty cool. North Face makes rad stuff. They make stuff that looks stylish, but also you see on Jimmy Chin on Everest. So like, it's pretty cool that it could be really technically advanced and still look good. Opening up the jacket, this is a little bit more like of a wind panel down here. But in the middle here, you have this stretchy piece, which means that it'll probably dump out heat in the middle there. Pretty robust insulation panels just on the side here, which would go over the front part of your body, and it goes all the way down. And again, these insulation jackets, this one in particular just has a collar, so no hood. This jacket feels really warm already. I think it would probably have to be well below freezing for me to put this jacket on, and to keep it on, I should say. Compared to some of the other jackets, it just kind of does feel like a parka immediately, which is kind of wild to think about. So even though this jacket perhaps might not be the right fit for me, I am curious about the packability of the jacket. So looking at this pocket, no zipper. Interesting. Okay, maybe it doesn't pack. I can totally see myself being super comfortable again, putting this on maybe after my runs or before my runs. And for folks that kind of like to start their road runs in a little bit more of a comfortable state, or perhaps their body regulates temperature a little bit more, they just need a little bit of that breathability in their insulation pieces, this might be a great option. So up next, again, the hype brand, we got Janji. This feels nice, and I love when stuff feels nice. So opening up the jacket, looks like these panels down here towards the center of the body are pretty breathable. You have some insulation pieces and panels down here towards the bottom of the jacket, some insulation panels towards the top of the jacket, and some full panels that go along the sides. In picking this jacket up, I can already feel that it's significantly less insulation fill than the North Face jacket, and it feels about as light as my Marmot jacket. Again, the Marmot jacket is just fleece lined and wind, so to get something that's as lightweight in something that has insulation fill is pretty attractive to me. Opening up the jacket, I do see that it's got this pocket. I'm hoping it packs into it. It does. That's a pretty fast pack. It's easier to pack things, I feel like, that aren't waterproof, so that's pretty nice. Wow, that packs down much smaller than my Marmot jacket, so moving around, it feels like I do have some more of that freedom than I did have in the North Face jacket, but this is really comfortable. I would say that this is probably the most comfortable jacket I've tried on just in all the jackets that we've reviewed. So unzipping it, this guy pops out at me. I've read that this is kind of like turning your jacket into the cape, which is interesting. If y'all have been out on a really windy day, whether that's on trail or whether that's on road, and just ran with the jacket in this way, you know that like this happens all the time, right? Yeah, this cape feature could be cool. I think that if I had my running vest underneath this jacket, it could be like a cool feature because it'll still stay on. To be honest, I would probably use this more in a road running scenario. I guess the other thing we haven't talked about for running with the running vest, which is why the breathability story can be so important, is how breathable the portion of the jacket where your vest would go is. And so like this portion being breathable is rad. This portion having a little bit more insulation makes a ton of sense, but my vest will probably be covering part of that. So there'll be some more condensation that builds up in that part of my body. So again, from a breathability and packability standpoint, feels like it ranks pretty high on my list. And the idea that I have to take layers on and off less is pretty attractive to me. So I think for me, I might stick with the Marmot this season for a couple of the reasons I talked about. But I think the Janji jacket is an exciting jacket for me to talk to other folks about, and even some of my friends that I run with. This jacket is pretty versatile, and if you're a person that doesn't like to take layers on and off, it's an awesome piece. It's really lightweight, really comfortable, got a really soft hand. So I think this jacket excels for folks that want to keep a little bit of insulation on them and don't want to be fussing with on and off. So although all these new running jackets this season are super exciting, I don't think they're outperforming my favorite jackets yet. But super curious to hear what y'all have to say, and if there's a suggestion for a jacket I didn't try on that I should definitely check out. What do I do with them? Do you want me to like throw them down here, or do you want me to pull them back in?
You have a big bear bag?
Yeah.